Welcome back. I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle, and this is the Top Music Attorney Podcast, the place where you learn how to master the entertainment business, learn how to stay legally protected, and during this live broadcast, you can get your legal questions answered for free. Okay, so we have been doing this now for a couple of weeks, every Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. PST. We continue to kind of play with the format a little bit. But in today's show, we're going to be talking about a couple of things having to do with newsy things. We have The Weeknd, which I was surprised by this. We're going to talk about it, but The Weeknd has a haunted house. He's teaming up with Universal Studios, and in addition just to talking about what he's doing, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about liability for haunted houses when they have guests. As someone who's been through haunted houses, I've had some experiences. I got caught up, and I'm going to share that story. We're going to talk about Choco. It's now officially dead. She-Hulk, new trailer. We're going to do a live reaction to that. The trailer's gotten like 14 million views in the last 3 days. I'm very excited about this show. So, She-Hulk, attorney at law, very relevant to the show. And then we got a bunch of other stuff happening, including a record label tip. I'm going to give you all the good stuff. Now, before we get into the intro, I know you guys are filing in the chat. Hello. I got 2 new things, which I'm kind of excited about. All right, so here's number 1. You ready? I had to get the scales of justice, okay? And I was kind of upset because I thought that these little arms were adjustable because the scales of justice should not be balanced. I think that they should always be imbalanced, right? It's a scale. It's a moving thing. So I don't know. I'm a little disappointed by my scales of justice, but they're cute otherwise. So that's number 1. Number 2, I don't know how I'm going to incorporate this into the show, but I will. I got a gavel. There we go. And I was actually doing a little research because I know that obviously the gavel's purpose is to bring order to the courtroom. And my understanding is that they, originally brought this in having to do with like property cases. And so they were doing property disputes over landlord tenants and all kinds of things. And so the judges would have the gavel to obviously slam it down, make a big noise, and to bring order to the court. And that obviously is how we hear it and see it in cinema as well. So yeah, now I have a gavel. And with that being said, we're going to run the intro. I'm going to go back to the chat. So leave your comments, your questions. We'll say hey, and then we'll get into all the things. So let's go. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected.
Let's go.
Hi, baby faces. Thank you for being here. Yes, for those of you who don't, come and are able to be on every single live stream, we do miss your faces. Part of the fun is that this is live, and so we can chat with you and say what's up. So in my tea today, in case you were curious, we're doing the ginger tea, but I've also been adding apple cider vinegar. And apple cider vinegar is very bitter, and I put way too much in it, so it's kind of killing me every time I take a sip. I'm sweating, but I'm sure it's a good thing, right? Chris, how you doing? Makes a face swap on the She-Hulk. That's right. So I did do a face swap on the She-Hulk commercial, or that Orko did it. So he face swapped my face onto She-Hulk. We did a post on it. You can see it on Top Music Attorney, or maybe I'll go find it in a second and I can show you. I am the lady with the glasses, and I have a bunch of new glasses that I've been wearing. These are the ones that I always wear for the show, but I don't know. I'm trying different glasses. That's how you start a show, with a gavel. I don't know what you mean, but that's what I mean. All right, guys, I'm so glad that you are here. It has been a great week already. Obviously, this is the Tuesday show, so on Monday, we released my first reaction to Hopsin. Hopsin is a huge artist. A lot of you really like him. He's a rapper, producer, and I reacted to The Ill Mind of Hopsin 8, and it's, at the time it was released, it was a big diss track to his then business partner, and he's putting this guy on blast. They're in a courtroom. There's bailiff or a bailiff and a jury and a judge and a whole kind of craziness that breaks out. So it was kind of like the perfect music video to react to, kind of coming back into it. So if you guys missed that video, make sure you go check it out right here on the channel, Top Music Attorney. And then today, we released the full interview for Wendy Day. Wendy Day gets hired at like $250K a pop to, get hired to work with rappers and artists and to help make them big stars. And she came on the show and did an incredible interview. We've been kind of, sprinkling it out in little segments, but we did drop the entire interview today. So if you are an artist, a record label owner, go check that out. It's a gold mine of amazing, amazing tips. All right. And so there was one thing. We do content through Top Music Attorney on all social media platforms, as well as Miss Krystle. And it's usually different content every day. So we have like multiple things going up. But this week I'm doing a promo for my record label course. And so we have like some fun content that's been going up for that. And there was one that I really liked that kind of made me laugh. I thought maybe I'd show you guys. Let me pull it up. While I'm doing that, put a penny on one side of the scale. Yeah, right. Did I test it? Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. It does not move. Yeah. Yeah. She's even. And I feel like this is a profound misjustice. All right, let me pull this up. So this one, actually, this is Miss Krystle. So let's go over to Top Music Attorney. All right. So which one was it? Oh, yeah. So this one right here. I don't know if the audio is going to play, but so I totally feel the spark to start a music record label, and then the music business reacts. This one made me laugh because I feel like the music business is here to crush your dreams. If you're an artist, if you're a producer, it is very tough to be in the music business. And so that's kind of why I started this channel. It's because I wanted to be able to teach you guys, obviously, how to not only survive, but thrive, how to be incredibly successful. And so anyway, we're doing a bunch of promo for the record label course, which by the way, it's very limited. We're just filling the last 13 seats. I think we're down to 10 now. So once we fill the last 10 seats of my course, we're going to be closing enrollment. So I'm doing this huge discount so you guys can get in. Facebook, let's go over here. Bar, aren't the scales just supposed to be balanced, giving objective evidence without bias? I had an argument with my very close friend who's an attorney, and I agree with him. He's like, no, absolutely not. The scales of justice are not supposed to be evenly weighted. It's because you have your evidence and your testimony and the law and all of this, and they're never going to be balanced. They're supposed to be imbalanced, so to speak. So I don't know the answer to that. All right, YouTube. Kyle, how you doing? I'm great tonight. I'm doing good. I'm having my apple cider vinegar, which, by the way, smells like feet. So that's happening. Yes. That and juror of peers is bias. All right, where you guys checking in from? Iowa, Carlos on YouTube, California. Hello, hello. I kind of felt like I wanted to go and do something. I was like, let's do something fun tonight. I don't know what that is. I'm going to do something fun on the show and just hang out with you guys, which is very fun. But I was like, I want to go like skydiving or something. Tonight's a good night to do that. I can see a little preview of my producer right now. He's going like this. It's a great idea. All right. I haven't been skydiving yet. I feel like it's a bucket list item that I need to do. Have any of you been skydiving? Give me some thoughts. Hello in the UK. I know it is quite early in the morning right now. Thank you for being here. Maryland. Oh, here we go. Oklahoma. Hi, Jim on Facebook. If you guys are watching right now, we are broadcasting everywhere, as always, but Top Music Attorney YouTube is our home base. That's where I do like community polls. That's where all of the videos go up afterwards. All right, cool. So let me go back to my agenda. We're going to be bringing in that Orko, but before we get to that, we are doing a music video, and I think it's Make Me Bad. Are we doing Make Me Bad? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, yeah. So we're doing Make Me Bad. I sang this like live I think last live stream. So I also do a separate live stream on Miss Krystle Instagram where I play my piano, I sing some songs, we figure shit out together. But in any case, this is the video that's been posted to Miss Krystle YouTube, and we're gonna run that. We're gonna be back, and then I'll have that Orko. We're gonna dive right into the newsy things. So that Orko, whenever you're ready, let's do it.
I am watching the rise and fall of my salvation. There's so much stuff around me, such a lack of compassion. I thought it would be fun and games, instead it's all the same. I want something to do, need to feel the sickness in you. I feel the reason as it's leaving me, no, not again. It's quite deceiving, yes, I'm feeling the flesh may be bad. All I do is look for you, and when I fix you need it too, just to get some sort of attention. What is it mean to you? For me, it's something I just do. I want something, I need to feel the sickness in you. I feel the reason as it's leaving me, no, not again. It's quite deceiving, yes, I'm feeling the flesh may be bad. I feel the reason as it's leaving me, no, not again. It's quite deceiving, yes, I'm feeling the flesh may be bad. Make me bad. Does it make me bad? Make me bad. Make me bad.
Hi guys, thank you for watching.
Wow, I left the promote.
There we go.
Let's
Hey,
go.
thank
Let's
you,
go.
11-second eclipse.
True being.
Yeah, Mr. That Orko himself produced what you guys just heard.
Oh yeah. Hey, that was a fun one too. Like, so it's pretty funny because Korn, obviously in the original version of that song is so different than that version. And when Miss Krystle came to me and she was like, "Yo, I want to do a Korn cover. I want to do Make Me Bad." I was just like, "Oh no! Like, what am I gonna do with this?"
I know, it's so different. For those of you who haven't heard the original, the way that Jonathan Davis sings it, he's singing, but he's doing more of a talky thing. And so, I don't know, I adapted it to make it work for me. I love his original, or their original.
Yeah. It was cool. So it was a lot of fun to do that and just try to do a whole different take on it. Korn were a very important band to me when I was like 16 and 17. I remember I've seen them at many like record store events and things, and I still have it. It hasn't exploded. Oh, too bad. I should have thought of this last week. I have a can of corn downstairs that I
He
that I showed
does. He has
and
this
it's
horrible can
signed.
of corn.
That's signed by Korn from not the first record, but from the second record, from the Life is Peachy era when they were doing record store appearances. And I have a can of green giant corn. So imagine how long ago that was, and it's still there. Like the can hasn't exploded, it hasn't bulged. I have
With
a
the
lot of
preservatives in food, I bet it's probably still just as good if we were to open it.
I'm not opening it, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I thought it was so clever getting a can of corn signed by Korn. I thought it was going to be funny.
So before we get into the official stories that we're going to discuss, I wanted to touch on Choco Taco. Now, I'm going to preface with I've never tried a Choco Taco, but this is a very sad day, apparently. Now, there's news.
Yeah,
There's
so
news about Choco Taco. What's going on?
Now, this was something that I brought to Miss Krystle. When I saw this in my feed, I was like, no, I love Choco Tacos. I love Choco Tacos. I remember when Taco Bell used to sell them. Um, like, at the drive thru, that was like kind of like a dessert. But yeah, no,
Were
they
they in
are.
stores?
Yeah, no, you could buy them at like
Okay.
Walmart. You can get them at like, like, I don't know, 7-Eleven and stuff. I don't know if you can get them at QT anymore, depending. I don't know if, we're West Coast, we're in Arizona. But yeah, no, it's been around since 1983. And a representative for Klondike said, over the past 2 years, we've experienced an unprecedented spike in demand across the portfolio and had to make tough decisions to ensure availability among our full portfolio nationwide, which just basically means they're going to have 70 different versions of the regular Klondike bar and a couple
Yeah,
of ice
right.
cream bars and things that, I don't really need an extra Reese's Klondike, although those are really good. I love the Choco Taco. But the Reddit people are taking to social media and they're bummed out like me. This has been something that like I said, I've been into for a long time on this Choco
Well,
Taco.
when was the last one you had a Choco Taco, though? That's the thing, though. Numbers
But
talk.
no, for sure. But you have to remember. So like I was not since I've been involved with you. I don't eat a lot of that stuff because you don't allow a lot of that stuff in the house.
You
And
can
then
you can throw me under the bus all you want. So prior to me, then, were you having Choco
whenever
Tacos?
honestly, whenever I see them. So probably I would
Okay.
say I probably have had one. I've snuck in some in the house. That was probably my problem. That's how I know you can get them at Walmart individually.
Well, what about you guys in the chat? And we'll be discussing this later.
But I wanted to mention that people are like me; they're very passionate, and you have to remember when they were canceling like Twinkies and stuff like that. Somebody ended up buying them, and and then remanufacturing and get the recipe. And Reddit co-founder Alexis Onanen said is offering to keep the snack alive, tweeting this to Klondike's parent company. Dear Oliver, I'd like to buy the rights of your Choco Taco and keep it from melting away for future generations. And Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut said that he also wanted to save the dessert after the news of its demise. Tomorrow, I am introducing legislation to invoke the Defense Protection Act to mandate the continued manufacture of Choco Tacos. Please
Was that
call
a
your
joke,
senator
or is
and
that a
demand
real
they
thing?
post. It's obvious. It's obviously a funny. He's having fun on social media.
Yeah. So guys, I just
But
looked
I
up.
can get behind this initiative.
Well, in a serious kind of way, I just looked up. So the Choco Taco trademark is, of course, live and well, and they'll probably just let it naturally expire. So they got the registration in 1984 for one of the trademarks. And so, no, I mean, to the extent that they could sell it, I think that would still be smart. But, then it's the whole, will people just remember that it's part of our brand? And now there's going to be brand confusion. So maybe we just let it die.
I think that they would be smart just to sell the license to it. But then again, I mean, remember we just had a big, all hands on deck panic when Taco Bell discontinued the Mexican pizza and the potato taco, and petitions that were sent, throughout social media got both the potato soft taco and the Mexican pizza.
Yeah, no
back
one's
in effect. Well,
petitioning for
Doja
Choco
Cat.
Taco, apparently.
Well, not yet. It just was just announced. I think the people are going to speak. This whole thing might even be a promotional campaign to push the Choco Taco.
That's true. That's true. They're sneaky.
I wouldn't sell it. I'm telling you, they're going to bring it back.
Sneaky.
Bring it
All
back
right,
like
so
the
we'll
Mexican
be
pizza.
following the Choco Taco, either its
Very
demise, its
closely.
ultimate demise, or if they will be bringing it
Particular.
back somehow. We also want to touch on Lizzo. So Lizzo is, I think, at number 1, right?
Yeah, so she had Lizzo just had debuted on number 1 with her, or not, I'm sorry, she debuted on number 2 on the album charts on the top 200 with her special album, and she is now at number 1 on the top 100 singles chart. But what is also very exciting about this Lizzo record, we covered it on New Music Friday. I have been listening to it. That About Damn Time just hit number 1 on the top 100. Very exciting. But also, when I was looking at the charts, I noticed that Kate Bush had jumped to number 3. Now she's
Stranger
been
Things,
holding.
guys.
Kate Bush has been holding at that number 4 spot for a couple of the weeks now. Now
It's
we've talked
amazing.
about it at length on this channel. The fact that her placement in Stranger Things and just the power of what a one placement can do, and it doesn't even matter. So just to remember to, this is more reasons why you want to hang on to the rights for your song, because I mean that Kate Bush song came out in what, 85, and now she's making literally millions upon millions of dollars from this song is paying off later. So a song you might have released a long time ago or haven't even released could still earn you money with the right
Yeah, and I looked
placement.
up the registration. I think it was on BMI. So BMI at least is the performance rights organization in the United States, and so she's registered with BMI. So you can look up who is still the owner, and so she is in fact still the
Top
owner
dog.
of her song. So the fact that she's making millions of dollars, she's making millions of dollars, right? So versus when we are signed with labels or have other companies we're working with, we only get a small portion of those earnings. So good on her, and
And
sticking
it's
it out at number
still,
3.
no, still climbing at number 3.
Still
I mean, and
climbing,
I wonder if
yes.
she's gonna hit. She could still hit. She could hit. She could get higher. It's possible. I'm rooting for her. I would love to see this thing hit number 2, or even number 1 if at all possible. But the fact that this Stranger Things episodes were released, like, I don't know, it's got to be like a month or two ago at this point. The fact that it's going to continue, and that's the power of streaming. That's the power of trying to get your song a placement in one of these Netflix or Amazon shows. Check out some of our other coverage that we did. We also did a big breakdown of Netflix changing their policies last week, and just kind of a battle of all the different streaming services. It's a fun conversation. Check that out too, also on the channel.
All right, so now moving on to one of our more official stories for
Nice.
tonight. So The Weeknd is teaming up with Universal
Big.
Studios and has After Hours Nightmare Haunted House heading to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. And I'm actually going to play the little teaser, which I thought was a good way to kind of set the tone. Let me pull this up.
Check that message, I just sent you.
Okay.
We're going to do a quick refresh, and we're going to come back in with the story. We had a little bit of audio problems, so we're going to go ahead and retake care of that. And go ahead and let's start over that story again for the kids at home.
All right, guys. So The Weeknd is launching a haunted house endeavor and teaming up with Universal Studios. So this is the After Hours Nightmare Haunted House heading to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. And there's a little preview I thought that we would watch, which I feel would just set this up perfectly. So let me go ahead and get this set up. Now, my first kind of thought when I was hearing about this and reading about this is I was like, I don't know that I necessarily associate The Weeknd with horror and haunted houses, and we're going to talk about other people that have done this. So it was new to me, but I'm not a super fan.
This is super exciting. I haven't seen this.
All right, here, let's go ahead and watch this together. Let me know if you can hear this okay.
Perfect.
Oh no! Yeah, that girl got maced or something. I hope she has some. Yeah, she's gonna need something real soon.
Enter the
Hey,
Weeknd After
here we
Hours
go, blinding
Nightmare.
lights.
Only at Universal's Halloween.
And we just got demonetized. So I like how the nurse, the sexy nurse, by the way, in the bra, she's coming up with the needle or whatever. It was nicely done. I liked the makeup. I liked everything that I saw. Were you scared?
No, I'm not scared, and I was kind of curious to what even. I haven't seen that. Was the first time I've even seen that. I wanted to wait for the show. I know that we were going to do it to take a look at it. Promo's pretty cool. I think it looks interesting. I went and did some research though, and I found that this thing is going to draw influences from movies from A Clockwork Orange, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Jacob's Ladder. It isn't a retelling of his After Hours album, which is what it's based on. It's called the After Hours Nightmare, but it's an entertaining the nightmare that we used as the muse for his songs. So it's kind of cool. Now this thing opens in September, both at the Orlando Universal Studios as well as the one in Hollywood. So it's pretty cool. Like I've been thinking actually that I've been wanting to check out one of these Hollywood horror nights that they have. They've had a lot of exciting ones in the past, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But it's
and
been
on the
going through
imagery and
Halloween.
branding, you see Weeknd's, red jacket that he wore in the Blinding Lights music video, and then there's also this, I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes, other video that he
Mhm.
released, kind of showing the lead up and other things that were happening and all that. So he's really doing a nice job with the branding of it. But I'm curious because, for example, Rob Zombie, he had
Yes.
his. Haunted
Yeah,
house. We went to
he
it.
had he had the American the Great American Nightmare haunted house where it was just kind of which was I thought was what the Weekend thing was going to be kind of thing because Rob Zombie's Great American Nightmare was based on his movies. So it was like the characters from his movies, the imagery and scenes from the movies that he has written and directed. Whereas the Weekend is just kind of, I think it's just going to be the music, some Weekend kind of references, and again, like some of these movies that they have, done before. But this is a really cool thing that Universal Studios do. They go all out for Halloween. Now, I'm kind of a Scrooge when it comes to like any kind of holidays, if I'm being honest. I really don't even like Halloween, but this thing looks like it's kind of cool. I like going through like haunted houses. I just don't like dressing.
Yeah, I think you're far in the minority. But on the legal side of this, I thought it would be interesting to talk about this because if this is, a collaboration by the Weeknd, likely his company is contractually involved with Universal Studios and anyone else. And so the question comes up, haunted houses, right? Is there legal liability when someone is hurt in a haunted house? Now, for me, I've had one kind of interesting experience when I was a little bit younger. I'm running through, and I think it was like some kind of butterfly winged thing, demon child. And so I'm running through, and my wings catch on the giant guy on the stilts or whatever, and it was fine. It was just an awkward moment because I'm like, all right, he can't talk to me. I'm literally stuck on this guy. But in any case, I wasn't hurt. Everything was fine. But you have people who chase you at the end of a lot of haunted houses with the chainsaw. So
I
what do
think
you
you
think?
sign. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember, and I know exactly what you're talking about because when you're in a lot of those things, especially when you're going through dark rooms and you're just kind of going through things, and somebody pops out. I don't know about you guys, but my natural instinct isn't necessarily just to like duck down or get like whatever. It's to like defend myself, and so I'm also worried about.
Okay.
I also
Right.
don't want to be like triggered either. But I think you
Legal
sign
liability for
waivers
hurting someone.
when you
All
go
right. Well,
through
the
those
first thing you got to
things.
think about is with haunted houses, I mean, they're designed to simulate dangerous activities, right? So you are put into a state of panic. That's the whole purpose. And so if someone, and we know people have gone
Right.
through haunted
Right.
houses and been hurt, had heart attacks, right? Because they got so scared or they had
They've even
panic
had
attacks.
they've even had those kind of where you were hearing those fringe stories of people doing like how they have like the escape rooms and stuff now that are kind
Sure.
of more friendly. But when they first were starting, they had real hardcore ones that you had to pay a lot of money for and sign all these crazy waivers because they were actually going to kind of do some of the stuff to you to give like people that real experience, and then they got shut down, they got in trouble. But that it's dangerous when you're going through those crazy built sets, and then the employees for these things are mostly like what, teenagers, and just so you're but I believe for all of those things you sign a waiver or something when you're going through
Well, I mean,
those.
think about it. Have you ever
It's not like I did
sat
for
there and
Rob
signed a
Zombie.
contract before you went through a haunted house? The answer is no. A big
But your
portion of this
ticket.
is that you have assumed risk of what you're doing because you know what you're doing, right? There's fear and flight that's inherent with what you're doing through the activity itself. You know you're going to get scared. And so a portion of this is that you can't go into a haunted house with a heart condition, then you
Right.
have a heart attack, and then
Right.
you're going to claim, oh, oops, they're liable for what happened. Now, there is liability that happens, and we see this with safety code violations, right? Because the haunted house has a responsibility to make sure there are emergency exits, there
Right.
are sprinklers, right? There are just, basic things in place to make sure that you know where you're going, right? There's lighting on the floor if it's really
Right.
dark.
True.
And so if they don't have some of that stuff, you trip, you break your face, they're getting sued. And they're not going to be like, oh, you assumed the risk. No, you didn't assume the risk. You're going to break your face.
Right. But on the fun note of it, just to, whatever, I think it's pretty cool though that a music artist, another musician is, kind of dipping into like the theme park realms and stuff. I mean, I can't imagine what the Weeknd got paid for this. What a great opportunity, and just kind of just further solidifying yourself in pop culture. Because I mean, when you're getting cosigns from amusement parks more than just doing an appearance or performance, when you're having a whole area themed based on your vision and whatever, and you're credited for it, that's huge. That's huge. And some of the past ones that Universal Studios has done, they've done Walking Dead theme things, Alien versus Predator, From Dusk Till Dawn, Halloween, and The Purge. So this is something that has been going on for a while now, but they did have to stop for COVID. But now everything's back in full swing, and it sounds really fun.
Yeah, so Jen, I feel like usually there's a sign posted at least at the entrance. Absolutely. So having a nice big sign gives a degree of notice, right? They're going to let you know while you're waiting in line. But again, there's that assumed risk of what you're doing as a participant. But any unknown dangers is kind of where your ability to bring a lawsuit is grounded, right? So if they haven't had, let's say, warnings about uneven surfaces, right? So you trip, you break your ankle, there's lighting issues, there's fog, there's strobe lights, right? So, I mean, they don't want you having strokes, but obviously they are kind of setting up to scare the bejesus out of you.
And it's not like Disney. It's not like when you're going to, the Boo Bash that, Disney has when they do their kind of Halloween themed things, which are kind of more fun. Like Universal Studios steps it up. They're really trying to make it go down in an adult kind of way.
All right, very good. So let's go ahead and move on. And in fact, I think I got a video I need to pull up real quick on my end. So let me do that. All right, here we go.
Make sure you guys right now, I'm going to take this opportunity while she's pulling that up, that you guys are subscribed and joined our community right here on Top Music Attorney on YouTube. It's so important that if we do broadcast out to Facebook, to LinkedIn, but it's really important that you guys come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube and join the community, please.
Yeah, and you know what? Before we get into it, actually, there's a question. Hey guys, hi there, Joe. I have a question. Do you think an independent producer should ever own a portion of a master copy of a song that an independent artist made? The producer is part of the song. So if the producer produced that song for the independent artist, a lot of ways that a producer can do the deal is either you ask for, full payment upfront. As soon as you're paid, then the artist owns, the song, you have an agreement, so on and so forth. But it's pretty common that a music producer would ask for some kind of back-end profit participation. So if the song does take off and it becomes a huge viral sensation, you don't want to miss out. So even if you only charge, a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, and now the song's making millions of dollars, you're going to feel a little frustrated in that situation. So a good rule of thumb is try to, in your contract, have some profit participation on the back end. And it can be something small, right? So for producers who produce for big artists, they get like 1 to 3 points. It's very, very small. But if you are producing for an independent artist and maybe you're giving some discounted rates, I have producers who ask for 50%. So it's totally negotiable, and great question.
And I would just also want to tag on there too. It's just kind of just think about what you want to do, right? So if or what you do. So there's some producer is a very broad spectrum of what you can be considered when you're a producer. Some people say they're producers and all they do is make beats, and you know what I mean, and that's all they do, and they submit them, and that's all. But they're not like songwriters. They actually are not executive producing the song, so they'll just might be submitting a beat in there, but there's somebody else that's producing the full track with the vocals and putting the whole thing together. That's also a producer as well. So just knowing your role. So if you're just kind of submitting a beat in, maybe your participation might want to be a little different. But if you're from the whole process and you're working with the artist and you are songwriting and you are part of everything that goes on, as far as not just submitting a beat that an executive producer is going to chop up and then take samples from your beat and then build upon it, because that's what a lot of times happen too, right? When you submit a beat to some of these labels and these major artists, they go, I like track 3, I like track 5, and then they'll take them and they'll take the bits and pieces and they'll give them to another producer that will arrange those songs. So it's just kind of depending on what you're also trying to do when you're deciding how you're going to charge.
All right, Joe, thanks for the question. All right, so moving on. Fivio Foreign talks about signing to Mase's label and getting a $5,000 advance. And the reason why this kind of popped out to us on something we wanted to cover is because, obviously this is an artist who is doing incredibly well. Obviously he had to start somewhere, but I just kind of looked at his numbers on Spotify, and I think he has like 12 million, monthly listeners. So he's doing really well. A $5,000 advance for kind of a standard deal is pretty low.
Yikes.
And he's moved on since then, and he does say, he learned a lot. He didn't know, but the thing is, he didn't even get an attorney, and he says that he's like, they were just like, no, this is like a crazy good deal, like sign it, and so he did, and that's very
it's
common.
down to like a lot of pressure, and when he talks in the interview about just Mase is a very slick business person. He knows his business, and he knows how to talk things, and he wanted to get signed. He wanted the opportunity.
Yeah.
He had his song that went viral. It blew up. That Blixie in a Box. And he tried to sign him as like him and JD and D-Saw as like a package deal. So I don't know. It's just pretty interesting, but he still has a part of it as part of his production deal.
Yeah, and so he did a little interview.
And for those that you don't know, if you're not familiar with everything, like if you've heard that City of God song with Kanye and Alicia Keys, like I have I have that hook in my head like all the time in my head. That so he has the Body remix or Paris to Tokyo, you might have heard already.
Okay, let me pull this in. I'm going to refresh it so it starts at the beginning.
So was it no lawyer, no shit, no nothing?
Nah, the nigga who bought me to him, he was like, yo man, just sign that shit. You bugging? I'm like, yeah, read it. He like, he just signed it. It's good. So I just signed it.
And was it advance anything? It was just like
yeah, the advance $5,000.
5,000?
Yeah.
Whoa. He signed you for 5,000. That's all a nigga gave you?
That's all it gave me. 5,000 was a lot. 5,000 hit when that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That shit hit.
That's the
so
same thing Nori said. 5,000. Yeah. Nori signed for 5,000.
5,000.
Yep.
Yeah, he signed for 5,000. That shit hit, and I thought that shit was gonna last till whenever that shit was gonna last till. That shit ain't last
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Word.
And listen, but how long was the contract? You still had your rights?
I'm still in the contract right now. I'm saying.
I thought you.
Nah, Mase know the business. You know what I'm saying? He really know the business a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know nothing. I just was signing. He was like, yo, he was like kind of fake trying to explain it to me. Like, yo, you get to keep this. I get 30% of this. So I was like,
yeah, don't rely on what other people tell you.
Like, what we gonna do? I'm saying, he like, he a smooth talking nigga. So he like, yo, who you want to do a song with? I'm saying, I'm like, G Herbo. He like, I got you.
So.
Yeah, no lawyer, and just a lot of sweet talking, and that's 100% the case all the time when a label's trying to sign an artist, and you can't get, blinded by the schmoozing. The schmoozing feels good. They are there to try to make you feel like a star.
But you heard him, right? And this is something that a lot of artists go through. He said that he was stoked that 5,000 was a lot for him at the moment. He just wanted to get put on. You're promised things, all the time, and then he didn't flinch when he goes, this is a production now. And apparently, when I was reading, he doesn't own his Mase doesn't own any of his publishing rights, but I think he's just getting like 30% of just like the pie from him still. Because he says that he still has to work with them. He's still doing his thing with them, but it's his Mase's Rich Fish label is the name of the label that he is also signed to.
Yeah,
a pretty scary thing, but that's that was from the $1 million worth of game, and we like to cover that podcast a little bit on this channel. We've covered stuff with Snoop Dogg,
we did. Snoop Dogg did a great interview, and so we with
Ilya
them,
Wallo.
and so we covered that. And look, when it comes to making sure that you don't get caught up in a contract that's going to last for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you got to get a good entertainment attorney to look at that contract, and don't be so in a rush, right? I always say this. I'm like, it took them, the label, a month to get you the agreement, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need this signed by tomorrow because they're putting pressure on you. They're trying to get you to sign it without having an attorney present. And I just go, you're going to be stuck in a relationship with them for like a decade. What does a few days matter? And quite frankly, that's industry standard. And I saw a question. I think this was from
Don't be
Joe.
afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to hold off. Especially if they're coming to you, like they're coming to you because you're going viral. Like don't.
Yeah. Remember,
Don't be
if
so eager.
if a label is approaching you, it's because you have negotiated. To your question about finding an entertainment attorney, this is such a personal decision. It's like finding a surgeon. If you're going to be number one paying a lot of money to an entertainment attorney, you want to make sure that they're a good fit for you and that they know what they're doing, that they're on the ground floor doing these deals. Because even entertainment attorneys, they're in the right business, right? At least you picked instead of a property or real estate attorney. But even entertainment attorneys sometimes, they're exactly. So you want to do a lot of research and then, obviously just do something with an attorney that you think is a good fit. And I tell clients, I'm like, when they're coming to work with, me through my law firm, I'm like, let's have a consult. Let's kind of go through what I would recommend and see if it's a good fit. And then
and
before you sign the contract.
And I would say that when you're having that, don't be afraid. Don't think that just because you had a consultation that you have to sign with that attorney. Like, it's just like you're going to get a second and third opinion. You need to have a budget for these kind of things because you want to make sure that they understand what you're doing. Just because they're an entertainment attorney, they're like, I've been in the industry for 40 years. Yeah, but are you current in the industry? Like, do you know when I'm mentioning these artists, do you know who I'm talking about? Do you know what deals are being made? Do you know who else is? Like, are you cutting edge, or are you just, I push papers and I have some contract templates that may have to be rewritten anyway? So, and then one last final thing I wanted to say, as far as I don't know if you have anything else to add, but I just wanted to say about for artists is stop worrying about that advance. Stop worrying about the damn advance. It's a loan. You need money, go to a bank. Like, worry about what the label can do for you. Like, get in writing what the promotion's going to be, what kind of, who they're going to get you to work with. Don't just go with, hey, who do you want to work with? We got you. Like, you believe it when you read it on the contract.
Well, and the only counterpoint that I would put to that is as far as the advance, if you're only getting a $5,000 advance, I'm curious what the other terms of your agreement are, because that signals to me that the label isn't valuing you very much. And so, be like, hey, I don't care about the advance, but I want a sweet deal on the royalties. I want a sweet deal on the ancillary rights. Yeah.
Or give me more ownership of my music, my actual, my masters. Like, let's work something out, negotiate, try.
All right, so moving on. We are doing something kind of fun. So I had a promise that we were going to track along with She-Hulk, and we're going to watch She-Hulk together when it comes out in August. I think it's August 17th. But they dropped the official trailer a couple days ago, and we're going to watch it.
Let's do it.
Let me pull this up again. I'm really excited about this. So it's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We're going to talk about it, but let's start with the trailer first.
Wow! Jeez, what the hell, man?
Still
I
in
think
control,
Hulk is her
feelings of
brother.
rage.
No, a
Or
normal
cousin.
amount of
They're related
rage.
somehow.
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
Yes, he's a
This
cousin.
is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's your best friend?
Okay, so at this point, we know that she is, of course, the attorney, but now we see her, she's kind of like training with her cousin, and, I guess now she's focusing on this other career path. And so I'm always curious to see with these lawyer-focused shows, right, is this going to help enable her as an attorney to be better, right? Is it going to be something that adds into her repertoire, or is it going to be kind of this new career path that she pursues? So let's go back in.
Nikki.
Spandex. Spandex is your best friend. Being a Hulk asks for balance.
Attorneys should definitely do some yoga.
More to learn. Yes.
So I'm clearly nailing it at all these things.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
If you want to go back to life as a lawyer, I'll respect that. Okay, so maybe it is she's getting away from law at some point in the show. I don't know. It's Attorney at Law, so I think the whole thing's about her being an attorney, but who knows?
More and more eccentric superhumans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to launch a division for them. And I want the She-Hulk to be the face of it.
Jennifer Waters. Namaste.
I have a serious conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin, Bruce.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Oh.
All right, so I'm assuming that she's representing that person, right? So attorneys, when they go, we have to do conflict checks. We can't represent clients, for example, who are like against our clients previously, or where there's some kind of conflict of interest. And so this person, obviously, she has an issue with. So I'm assuming they're asking her to represent him.
People only care because I'm representing Emil Blonsky.
I think they care because they're like, hey, that girl's great.
Jen, do your thing.
God, I really like this outfit.
Oh, there's the court. All right. When they had the little trailer before, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a scene and I go, I think I just saw that she's in court and there's like chaos happening and things are getting broken. And I go, does she get mad during court? She transforms and then she starts destroying everything. So we just saw a little bit more in the preview. It looks like maybe she's being attacked or a client is being attacked. So she's being forced to transform in court, which I kind of love.
I'm not proud of this.
Miss Walters, we answer to a higher power. Our universe is on the edge of a precipice.
I am a lawyer. We do things by the book.
The Book of Ashanti.
No, the book of American laws.
Whether you like it or not, you're now a superhero.
Let's do this. You know that friend you had in high school who was way cooler than you were attractive, got all the attention from everyone? Hello.
Hello.
I think I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
Yeah. Okay. All right. What do you think?
I think it looks fun. I've stated before that, sometimes a lot of these superhero themes and stuff kind of get a little tired because I feel like it's just such an oversaturation of it. I do love The Boys that's on Amazon, and we were blazing through that. This looks fun to me because it's different, and I did a little bit of reading about it, and they're saying that it's a very different kind of show. It's about the humor, and it's not trying to be like another superhero show. So I like it because it's kind of like a behind the scenes of things that you wonder what the repercussions of, like when Superman goes, or I mean I guess that's DC, it's not Marvel, but when some of these fights happen in cities and cities get busted up, do they haul these, superheroes in court when they destroy buildings or when they hurt people? I would imagine there's tons of lawsuits that happen. So this is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I totally hope that they do try to keep this realistic, right? So, for example, another popular, attorney-related show, The Suits, and seeing them talking about law things and legal process and trying to incorporate really how the practice of law actually works was very fun, but also just I think for people who non-lawyers or in the field was cool. So I'm hoping they do the same thing. All right, here. I'm gonna refresh this really fast.
We're having all kinds of audio issues today. Yeah, we're cleaning it up.
All right, yeah, so in any case, I really hope that they don't, I don't know, if they end up being like, oh, she has this new career as a superhero versus she's now just a superhero attorney with an elevated status, I think that would be amazing. If we can see some law stuff with like talking about, personal injury cases and how we're dealing with this, and we have these lawsuits against these people who were injured when you were saving the town, that would be really interesting, as well as seeing her kick ass.
I think it's cool. I think it's super, super, super interesting. And I like the fact that this is a little bit different than Hulk in the fact that she can, she doesn't lose control. Like she can still be herself while she's She-Hulk. So it's just, she has more control of her personality, can still just kind of do her thing. So it's pretty cool. But it premieres on Disney Plus. August 17th. Disney Plus has just been turning out the great material. We finished Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you haven't hit that, hit that. I announced on last week's show that they are going to be doing a remake of the X-Men cartoon, the old 1997 one that did the that was like the truest form of any kind of X-Men storytelling. It's the truest of the comics. So I'm really excited to see what they do, and I love this content that Disney Plus has been doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find this really fast because someone had asked if, about the or talked about the face swap. So I am a real attorney. I'm an entertainment attorney, and I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering because if there were superheroes in the world, I would think that entertainment attorneys would be the ones that would get the call. But criminal law comes into place, property law comes into place. You'd probably have a pretty robust legal team, but I would think there would be entertainment attorneys on the team. But in any case, let me just see if I can find this face swap that Orko did where I became She-Hulk. It inspired me to increase my workout
I'll get you some
goals.
more. I'll get you some more.
Yes, no, we that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so especially because we saw, at least in this trailer, more scenes of her just being a lawyer in Hulk, right? So my question, kind of going in and watching this show, is going to be, does that mean then that she gets control of the power and that's now what she's doing 100% of the time? Or is it just she can transition? I mean, I need to know more. I'm very curious. All right, I found this video. Let me go here. Boom. All right, here we go. Let me refresh this.
Hit that like button if you haven't already. It's super important.
That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult.
That's me as She-Hulk. I know, well, you can see it. Here, make it bigger. I'm so strong.
No, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. Oh, I'm not a superhero.
I like that version.
Yeah, so Chris says we need to do the whole face swap for the trailer. All right, you might be right. That Orko will be on it. All right, beautiful. So that was lawyer reacts to She-Hulk, attorney at law, and we'll be watching. I'll give you guys some thoughts when the episodes start dropping. All right, guys, so I have a record label tip I'm going to give to you. We're going to kick that Orko out of here, but thank you very much for being here. As always, a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at that Orko. And before I go, I just want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and share this content out. We appreciate any kind of support that you give to the platform. It's so important. We work really hard. We try to get, the information to you, get you guys, legally protected. Make sure that you check out the link in the description. We have this incredible course that we are offering to you right now at a discounted rate. Direct link in there, 50% off discount code. Please check it out. Please subscribe. Thank you for having me. I love our community. Peace.
All right, guys, in today's record label tip, I'm going to be discussing how record labels, well, and actually, let me put it this way, how independent artists start record labels. So for a lot of my clients, I'm a real entertainment attorney, they'll approach my office, and I find that they usually come from two schools. One will be someone who maybe, has just an interest in getting into the music business and maybe hasn't had actual experience in the music business, right? So they're kind of coming in cold. But then a larger sect come from within the music business, and I find that a lot of them are actual independent artists. And they want to do what I did, which is start your own record label, start your own business, and build an enterprise that you control. Okay, it's a very powerful thing when you end up owning 100% of your music, when you get 100% of the profits, but kind of going through and learning that process can be tricky. So how do you do it? All right, so, I'm going to go through and we'll use some examples. For example, on this channel, we talk about Snow the Rapper. We talk about Chance the Rapper. And I'm sorry, not Snow the Rapper. Chance the Rapper, Snow the Product. We talk about Hobson, Tom McDonald, and these artists who have kind of built their own, like I said, enterprises where they control everything. They're in charge of distribution. They're in charge of building their teams, but they get to reap all of the rewards. So it's really, really cool to be able to kind of see these artists grow and to build their own companies. Now, while this is kind of titled record label, right, we're talking about just a music business. So in the example of even Hobson, right, Hobson, from what I understand right now, his current record label, Undercover Prodigy, he's the only artist. He's the owner and artist. So if you are a one-person record label, that's fine, and that's perfect for a lot of artists. They're not looking to sign additional artists, but even if you are, there's a huge benefit to doing that, which we're going to talk about. So clients who I find decide to get really serious with their careers, they're the ones that end up calling me. We're having a consultation. We're talking about what they want to do, and they're going to be like branding products and merchandise and relaunching and getting super serious about their marketing. And that's usually not right at the beginning of their careers. If that's the case for you, amazing. If you're already in that mindset where you want to build, very cool. But if you are that person that's a little bit later on, and maybe you have been signed to labels and you've learned the hard lessons about people can't necessarily do anything for you. You have to learn this stuff yourself. And when you do, you become a powerhouse. And the reason I like to use Chance the Rapper as an example is because even, when he decided to sign with independent record labels, he was still being super smart about his merch drops, making them super exclusive, selling out, and then moving on and doing big brand deals. So I feel like he really was able to master the business side of what he was doing. And so then when he got to this huge point of followership and selling out shows, he had so much negotiation power. So when the big labels did come knocking, because they always do, then he was in a position to be like, all right, cool. I want to do just straight distribution. I want to utilize your distribution network, your marketing, capacity and team and all that. But, I'm not going to give you my masters, right? So that is the advantage of kind of doing this yourself, even if you end up signing with a big label down the road. If you kind of start your own and learn the process, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to negotiate a super smoking deal for yourself down the road. So then when it comes to how independent artists are starting their record labels, the two big pieces that we talk about are profits versus expenses. So let's talk about the profits, right? So on, for example, Spotify, when it comes to streaming right now, a lot of our clients who are getting a million plays usually is about $1,000 to $2,000. So, if you are kind of doing smaller numbers, you're not going to see a ton of, revenue when it comes to just the streaming, but we already know that. Revenue from streaming is not something that you should rely on solely. What you want to be looking at are things like your live shows. I have an independent artist who sometimes gets bookings in the upwards of like $20,000. Being asked to do kind of, separate things where maybe you are a judge on a reality show, which you only get because you build your fan following. You make marketing a big part of what you do. Features, especially for rappers, being able to get these features, man, these guys are charging when you get, again, that fan following, that stream, the level of streaming that can kind of elevate your status. But, these guys are charging $50,000 for a feature, $250,000 for a feature. They're really killing it. I think I got a kitty hair in my eye, excuse me. But then you do things like meet and greets, right? Before shows. Hobson talks about this a lot. Before all of his shows, he's doing meet and greets. And so you can make good money from that. But also, importantly, you're connecting with your fans, which are the baseline of your success, that they support you. Sponsorship deals, right? Oh my gosh. Can you negotiate some killer deals? But again, that's predicated on you becoming the business person, working on your social media, building that following. And then I'll also mention music placements. If you own your music, if you become your own kind of label or business, when you get a placement in TV or film, right, some kind of show, you get that placement in Stranger Things, and now you're Kate Bush at number 3 and continuing to climb on Billboard Charts. You make millions of dollars. But even on a smaller scale, our clients who are independent artists, they can get placements of $50,000, $100,000. It's really amazing. And so I think when we think about that stuff as artists, that we always seem to go and have a tendency to be like, oh, I want to get signed to a record label because the record label can make all that stuff happen, right? They can make me a star. And my question is, it's not a guarantee. And we're talking about someone simply doing something and knowing a skill. So why can't you make yourself a star? And at the end of the day, if you learn how to do all this stuff yourself, it's never going to be a bad investment. Okay, so again, even if you sign with a record label, that label deal is going to be done at some point, and when they drop you or whatever happens, you now know how to do all this stuff for yourself. So in the realm of kind of starting your own record label, the profit margin here is, it can be really incredible. And we see independent artists who become millionaires because they're very smart about it, and they're not just being like, oh, I'm just the creative type and I'm not going to focus or worry about contracts and the business stuff. You got to do it all. Okay, but it pays off in a real big way. So then on the flip side, let's talk about expenses. If you're an independent artist and you are starting a record label, the kind of expenses you can anticipate, you could always do the poor man's startup, right? Meaning you just start using a name of a record label, you get a website, which might be like $100. You get social media, maybe don't even get the website, right? Just start some social media, that's free. You can go that route. That is not what I would suggest, though. If you are real life about starting a record label, you have to be super smart about it. That means you have to have contracts for signing artists, contracts for doing features, contracts for if you decide to sign with partners. Everything that you do has to have a contract, and you will thank yourself for making that investment of your time and effort. Okay, so contracts, forming a legal entity. If you say I'm Dope Record Label LLC, if you're not really an LLC, meaning a limited liability company, you've formed in the state that you live, if you don't take that step, then if you sign a contract as that name, as that LLC, then that contract could be argued as void because you never were a real company. You were a pretender. And then that can result in personal liability. If you get sued, they might sue you personally. They're coming after your house. They're coming after your car. I've seen some really bad things happen as a litigation attorney. So it's very important. You have your contracts, you get your LLC. And then, you make sure you actually own the music, right? So, one of my students, recently closed a massive deal in the millions of dollars for the sale of one of their artists' catalog. And people don't understand the value of masters. And so this goes back to, why do you even want to start a label and be your own business and own your own music? I tell you why. Because there's a huge payday coming down the road if you kind of hang tight. So, as a real entertainment attorney, I do this every day. I build labels for clients, and trust me, you can do that. You can hire an entertainment attorney. At least for us, the investment for clients can be upwards of $7,000, if not more, over the entire life of what we're doing, from starting the business to getting the contracts, but then all the information you have to learn. Once you know the information, right, you're the boss, you're the CEO, you're good to go, but you gotta still learn that info. So guys, I do have what I've done because I just don't have capacity to help everyone, but I want to help everyone. Right, so, I'm an independent artist, I'm an independent record label owner. I have started a course, and the course is at $997 right now, which is obviously severely discounted from what our clients actually pay. But, you're going through, you're getting the actual video tutorials, you're getting the contracts, you're getting everything that you need so that you have that $7,000 investment into yourself. And just for a short period of time, I don't know when, if you're watching this a little bit later, the discount may not be available. It is only going for a 2-week campaign, but I am doing 50% off. We only have 10 spots left in the course. Once we hit those last 10 spots, I'm closing the course. And I'm actually not even going to open enrollment for a little while. So in any case, I'm doing this because I really want to make sure that, if you're like me, you don't have to go to law school and pay $200,000 in student loans, but you can still get the help that you need. You can get the contracts, you can get the learning, and you have access, right? So you can continue to come back. I update the course. I answer your questions. So you can check that down in the link below. And what I would say is that if you are considering, what would this look like? As an independent artist, if I was to start a record label, don't be intimidated thinking, oh, I have to sign other artists, right? I'm going to be in charge of their careers and I have to manage all these artists. You can do this by yourself. Again, you know, I like to use that Hobson and myself as references of, you know, just really building something around yourself to insulate your music. And it helps so much. If you're a record label and now you're submitting yourself for consideration for festivals and other bookings and all that, you just come off as looking super pro. All right, guys, let me go back to the chat. Hello, hello. I appreciate everyone being here. Yeah, I mentioned Tom MacDonald. We've done a bunch of Tom MacDonald music video reactions on this channel, so you guys should definitely check that out. I need to get my She-Hulk on. I went to the gym today, and I was feeling a little weak. I was not in She-Hulk mode, so we're going to be working on that. Chris on YouTube. Live shows, merch, features, film, and TV placements are where it's at. CDs, records, streams are the smallest income. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, it's just kind of the state of music right now. Music is probably the least valued aspect of being an independent artist, and that's just because it's so accessible, right? Anyone can just open up any music, you know, app and play your music for free. And, you know, but when they make an investment in you, and you're in your like Chance the Rapper, and you're dropping your shirt, you know, promo sale, and now the fans are invested in you, that's where it pays off. The real relationship with your real fans. All right, what's up, Keith on Facebook? Junior, great name. I like your name. Junior's new to music. Well, this is where you're going to learn everything. On Top Music Attorney, I teach you how to stay legally protected, but a big piece of this is also just teaching you guys what I know, right? So one of my clients, I'm on a call today, and you know, the client had a lot of questions about branding, making TikToks, and I know some of you follow me on Miss Krystle. Miss Krystle is more of my music platform, but I make a ton of content being a lawyer as well. So, you know, I'm actually practicing what I preach. So I think it's Jason. Yeah, so I absolutely touch on branding and trademarks. I go through basically everything. In the course, it's not just, you know, I just talk to you about the contracts. The contracts are obviously a huge piece of this, but I give you walkthrough videos. But then I'm actually going through trademarks at the federal level, you know, where you're filing, how it works. Trust me, it's very important, so I cover it. All right, so guys, we have the artist submissions coming up very soon. So we already kind of put together a system so that artists, and quite frankly, record labels, it's going to be anyone that falls within the realm of Top Music Attorney, but we're going to start with artists. You can submit to have us give you a review. We'll look at your socials. We'll play some music. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be amazing. We're going to be starting that very soon. We finally have like the landing page set up, so it's going to be very soon. So if you are an artist and you're looking to get a review live on air, we will be doing that. And if you haven't yet, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. I love you guys so much, and I'm so grateful that we are building a community here, and it's so fun. I really enjoy doing these live streams with you guys twice a week on Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. PST. All right, I think I have a question from Nathan, and then we're going to be running one more music video, and we're going to get out of here. Nathan on Facebook, I'm doing video projections on buildings around town. That's cool. Anything I need to consider when throwing light on buildings around town? You know, public nuisance comes to mind if someone owns the building or if someone's living in the building, right? So if light's coming through the window at 2 a.m., you know, you could always get the police called on you, so just be aware of that. And also permissions, right? Is it technically trespassing? I would argue no. But if you are casting imagery onto the wall, keep that in mind. Again, more so of, you know, maybe getting the police called on you. But then also, what are you casting on the buildings around town? So a part of your thought process should be the imagery of what you're using. Are they pictures that you own? Is it designs that you own? Are you using pictures that you got from Google that maybe you don't own? And there might be copyright protection for those images. Not that there might, but there will be. So we don't want you getting into any trouble, so just kind of keep those things in mind. But probably better that you're doing that than maybe tagging up buildings, right? Yes, and there are obscenity laws as well. That does come to mind. So what you're casting on the walls and the buildings is important. All right, last comment. So Jen says, oh, yep, there are a lot of playlists on Top Music Attorney as well. So if you want to kind of look for particular topics, if you're a record label owner, I got you. A lot of free videos right here. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. I'm Top Music Attorney. Make sure to come say hi on Top Music Attorney, social medias, and then, the music stuff on Miss Krystle. I'll be back on Thursday on Miss Krystle Instagram. We'll do a sing along and talk about other things. But if you like the law stuff, we'll be back on Friday at 7 p.m. PST. I love your faces. I'll be in the chat. That Orko when you're ready. Bye, guys.
Shed your skin and come back again. A piece from whole, from saint to sin. Letting go of where you began and be reborn in the wake of it. Peel the clothes from your naked skin. Feel at home in the place you're in. Never mind the storm. Your dreams will keep you warm. In a struggle to become relevant, we constantly test our innocence. May our broken halo serve as evidence. Pieces of our souls for percentages. Pieces of our souls for percentages. Holding on just to take it in. Finding that comfort in strangers' grins. Wake up in places I've never been. Calling home, no one's answering. How I remember when I